Symptoms of modern bubonic plague fit nicely with medieval descriptions of Black Death events. Among them, the outbreak that struck the city of Kaffa during the Mongol siege. Escaping the Mongols by sea, the Italians are infected, one by one, as rats and fleas spread the disease. Soon, ships from plague-infested regions carry the Black Death to Mediterranean ports. One of them is Messina, on the island of Sicily. Concepts like infection are centuries away. A plague survivor describes what happens next.
When the sailors reached these places, it was as if they had brought evil spirits with them. Every city was poisoned by the contagious pestilence. Men and women died suddenly. While they hugged and kissed us, they were spreading the poison.
Those not infected by direct contact with the sick would contract the disease when the rats looked for warmth indoors. Soon, Messina's terrified residents turn on their own. Priests and nuns are left to care for the sick. But the courage of the clergy does little to bolster the dwindling faith of the population.
They thought that God caused this. They thought that God was cross with them for some reason or another, and that plague came from God.
Tom James is an historian and Black Death expert.
And therefore they set about, in the only way they could, placating God to get rid of the plague.
A 14th century witness wrote this passage of despair.
God said, I abandon you. Go into the shadows, where there will be perpetual waiting. May evil spirits arise with the power to devour you. May you have no escape from this time forward.
January 1347. The Black Death secures beachheads throughout southern Europe. Now it races inland.
We know about the plague in Europe from a variety of sources. We know about it from chronicle sources. But also in Europe, we have one particularly wonderful source, which is Giovanni Boccaccio's Decameron.
Written in 14th century Florence, the Decameron is an eyewitness account of a continent in crisis.
There's an introduction which tells us a tremendous amount about how families were broken up by the plague.
Sparing no thought for anyone but themselves, numbers of men and women abandoned the city, their loved ones, their belongings, and headed for the countryside.
Urban populations hit the road en masse, their nostrils assaulted by a scent of rotten eggs and wet leather, the putrid aroma of the dying and the dead.
In some cases, it gave rise to an intolerable stench. In others, it brought spitting of blood. For others, swelling on the back, across the chest, near the thigh. There was no remedy for the vomiting of blood. Those who fell into a coma or suffered a swelling very rarely escaped.
At the University of Padua, Dr. Santa Sofia treats Black Death symptoms with homespun remedies. Among them are wads of pig fat applied to boils. Meanwhile, deadly bacteria enter the lymphatic systems of Sofia's patients, infecting their vital organs. Within days, they die of respiratory or heart failure, and along with them, the doctor himself. In a matter of months, the Black Death forces Europe to its knees. People are dying faster than the church can bury them.
It must be absolutely terrifying for people in the 14th century as the Black Death spread. They knew that they were the next place to get infected. And because they didn't understand how it spread, they were sort of powerless to do anything about it.
Decades before the Black Death, civil wars in Italy drive the seat of Catholic power to France. By 1348, Pope Clement VI now holds the job of leading millions away from sin. Saving them from the plague is another matter. Short of a miracle, the Black Death will take him out as well.